Welcome to Sarpy Outlook. I'm O'Dea Lippert. Our guest is Janet Stewart. Janet is the chair of Congressional District 1 Democratic Party. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you, Pegs. I'm really glad to be here.
Well, we're
this
happy
is really
that you
a good
could come.
setup, and it's great that you're doing these programs.
Thank you so much. We're delighted to have you. And would you start, Janet, by describing your role, first sort of according to the Constitution and bylaws, and as a party leader?
Okay, well, the Constitution for the Nebraska Democratic Party creates a caucus for each congressional district. And I am the chair of the Congressional District 1 caucus. And the caucus has a role in both the biennial state convention and the state central committee meetings. The convention is every 2 years, and the congressional district caucuses have a role there. One of the most important things they do is elect the candidates for the national convention, or the delegates to the national convention. And they also elect the officers for the next 2-year period. In between the 2-year conventions, the party is governed by the state central committee, and they have quarterly meetings. And the congressional district caucuses meet as well at those meetings, and they have various roles. One of the most important things they do is they elect members to the standing committees of the party that do a lot of business in between the conventions. And as a caucus chair, I also have a seat on the executive committee of the Nebraska Democratic Party.
So in reality or in practice, what does that mean, all of that mean for you, Janet?
Well, I like to think of myself as the leader of the CD1 Democratic Party team. So I am going to assist the county parties and the candidates as far as doing the organizational work that they need, help them with events, fundraising. I walk in parades and do whatever I can to help the party organize and elect Democrats.
It's a pretty big job, isn't it?
Yes.
Before we go too much farther, let's talk about redistricting, a reality that we face every 10 years due to the U.S. Census, and describe how what some of us consider gerrymandering affected your district.
Okay. Well, I have a district map here that we can look at. And one of the first things that kind of jumps out at us is that we lost several counties in the redistricting. This time we lost Dakota, Dixon, Wayne, part of Cedar, and we also lost Gage, Johnson, Nemaha, Pawnee, and Richardson. We picked up Platte and Polk, 2 rural counties. The thing that was pretty noticeable was that Dakota was one of the 2 counties in CD1 that has more registered Democrats than Republicans, and Dakota County went to CD3, so we no longer have that Democratic Party stronghold. However, we did pick up part of Sarpy County. Prior to this redistricting, we had the rural area of Sarpy County as part of CD1, and now we have the eastern part, the more urban part of Sarpy County, and I think this
including Offutt Air Force Base.
Correct, correct. And so that switch in Sarpy County, I think, is going to have an impact in the CD2 elections.
I think it did.
I believe that is the case. We, of course, are delighted to have Bellevue. It's exciting to have another more urban part in CD2 because outside of Lincoln, we're pretty much a rural district, and so Bellevue's a vibrant part of the Omaha metro area, and so you know that will present an opportunity for us that we will make the most of.
It causes us in Sarpy County to feel somewhat disjointed because essentially almost all of Sarpy County minus the western part, which was more rural, which seemed to fit better with
Right.
the rural area of CD1. So we miss that part of Bellevue. But faced with this reality now until 2020, what are you specifically doing in this newly reorganized district to build party and to register voters?
Yes, well, those are two important things. Up until this point in time, I think a lot of it has been planning and team building. You know, we need to reach out to the rural counties and let them know that we're there to help them. It can be challenging to be a Democratic Party leader in a rural county in Nebraska. And, you know, just finding the resources and the volunteers sometimes can be a daunting challenge. And so, you know, we have some ability to mentor people in doing that, and just reaching out and letting, you know, the county chair of one of the really rural counties know that they're not alone and they have a state party and a caucus that can help them.
Are all of your counties organized?
I think all but one is organized at this point, but the level of organization really varies. I mean, in some counties where there's, you know, less than 1,000 Democrats, you know, their organization might be having the county convention and having an annual banquet, you know, and helping candidates, obviously, with parades and events and whatnot. But, you know, great parties like Sarpy County, you meet monthly, and you always have, you know, something going on. So it just varies.
It's easier when you have the numbers, isn't it? Than in some of the rural counties get rather scattered and a little farther distances for people to get together. It's difficult, isn't it?
And one thing that I'm hopeful that I will do is under the Constitution of the Nebraska Democratic Party, there is a opportunity to form a Congressional District organization, which is a broader group than the Congressional District Caucus, which just kind of operates at the Central Committee level. And the Congressional District organization would have a broader membership. It would have the county chairs in addition to the delegates and alternates of the State Central Committee, and it would actually be open to any registered Democrat residing in CD1 who would want to get active and participate. So I think that would be a good thing, and I'm going to recommend that to the CD1 caucus as a way that we could really grow the party in the next few years.
So would that kind of a structure cause people to feel more welcome or more involved than the current structure? I mean, beyond going to their local county part. Of course, you're saying that many of the local counties don't have many activities throughout the year, and this would draw more people in.
Well, that would be our hope, and I think the importance is that the counties in CD1, we need to help one another and reach out.
We're all in this together.
Yes, we're all in this together, and there's just a lot of value in building those relationships and getting an opportunity for people to become active and as their interests take them. So I'm thinking that would be a very productive thing for CD1 to do.
Well, I'll be interested to see how that progresses, Janet. I think it's an interesting concept and something that hasn't been widely used. So how successful have you been in these efforts? Like, what is the current count of registered Democrats and Republicans and nonpartisan people in your district now?
Yes, I do have that here that I have to refer to because I haven't memorized it. But there are 330,050 registered voters in CD1.
Which is a third of the whole state.
Correct.
It's supposed
yes,
to be.
It's supposed to be. Of that number, 159,498 are registered Republicans, which is just slightly over 48%. The Democratic registration is 107,451, which is 32.5%. So there is a notable gap there. Nonpartisan, 61,937, other 1,164, and that's together, those groups are a little over 19%.
How has that shifted with the new redistricting? Do you have any idea, like, what did you gain or lose? I know you
You
got.
know, I don't know that I even looked at that specifically. I mean, I've looked at the registrations over time, and starting in 2004, and I think the Republican Party has lost a little bit of ground since then. And I guess looking at these numbers, even though the Democrats are number 2 in the registration, I mean, when you look at the prospects for an election, I think it's doable.
Well, and you did gain quite a few Democrats from Sarpy County, didn't you?
Well, we
'Cause that,
did.
For last, at least we feel we lost quite a few
Yes, you
from
did.
the CD.
Yeah, that was offset, however, probably more than offset by the amount that we lost in Dakota County.
really?
Yeah, when they went to CD3. So, I mean, it's probably, I like to think of it as maybe a wash, as far as, we're still in the same approximate position, and we still have a viable campaign plan where we can succeed.
We're less than a year away from the primaries. So what are your plans for candidate recruitment as well as voter registration? And of course, the ultimate test is the get out to vote.
Exactly. Yeah, the voter registration is probably the thing that is going to be most important right now. We do have some opportunities to increase voter registration in CD1, and we do have a plan to go forward with that, which is going to start right now, actually. Candidate recruitment is an ongoing thing throughout the year, and it's still early, but the state party is recruiting candidates, and you have to look to the local county parties to find their local candidates and let you know, is there somebody in their area who might want to run for Congress.
And I believe you're planning some candidate training.
Yes,
Also.
the state party is doing campaign training.
Campaign training.
Yeah, and it's something not just for candidates,
That's right.
but
It's
for
broader than.
yes, party officers and people who want to volunteer. It's a great overview of how to run a campaign and how to help a candidate and local party organize and grow. So we're really looking forward to that.
Great, and that's being held in other places throughout the state also, I believe?
Correct,
or
yes.
over time?
Yes, yes. So we hope to have 2 or 3 in CD1.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So different locations
Sure,
within.
yeah.
And this one upcoming is in Fremont?
It is in Fremont.
Yes, good. Well, that's remarkable. What would be, of course, Lincoln would be a center of population, but is there any other area that you look to as somewhat of a center of population within your district now? With the part of Sarpy, of course, but
Yeah.
any of your other counties?
When you get out of the metropolitan areas, the towns are not that big. I mean, Fremont is one of the larger ones at 26,000. So I think geographics dictates maybe more the center than the populations. And for example, the training we're having in Fremont, which is on the far southeast corner of Dodge County, that might not be a drive that someone from Madison County wants to make, and so perhaps we'll have one, in the northern part of the CD.
And I'm sure one in Lincoln, too,
Sure.
if they've not.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it's true. The more people you can involve, that's a big theme for me, is to build party and do that by making it a hospitable environment for people.
Exactly.
And then they'll stay around. I mean, giving them
Yeah.
something meaningful to do.
Yeah, and people come to the party for various reasons. Some people come because there's a particular issue that they feel passionate about. Some people come because it's a way to connect with other people of like minds and interests, and that's how they want to live their life, is by being involved with their local party, and so that's great. Whatever reason brings you to the party, we're happy to have you.
Well, and then, of course, some people come around a candidate.
Exactly, and candidates make a big difference. Yes.
I wonder, as we approach 2014, are you prepared to venture an opinion about how we might fare in this election?
Yes. Well, there's no reason that we can't do very well. If we work together and we do the work, then we can succeed. I think one thing that is very important is having a strong candidate at the top of the statewide ticket. You know, we have at least one good candidate who is announced for governor, and that will help the down ticket statewide offices. I ran for Secretary of State in 2010, and that was not a good year for Democrats. It wasn't. But, you know, if you have a really extraordinary candidate to run, I think you're going to get votes irregardless of party affiliation. And, you know, I think that's the years in the past where we had great success. I think that's because we had really fantastic candidates.
Well, and it's hard to run against an incumbent because some of them have been so long. So the governor's race is a good opportunity,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's an open seat. Unlike the congressional race this time in CD1, Congressman Fortenberry has been there since 2004. And so, you know, that's a daunting challenge for someone to take on. That's kind of where party registration can make a big difference because as far as getting national support and attention to the race, you know, the party performance is very key to that. So increasing our party registration, I think, makes a big difference.
Great.
You know, I think a lot of Nebraskans don't really understand that because I hear people who say, well, you know, I usually vote Democratic, but I'm registered Republican because, you know, I want to vote in the Republican primary. And, you know, perhaps they have more choices in the Republican primary, but then the fact that they're not registered Democrat does hurt the party's access to national support.
So it's not just what counts on election day, but how you're registered can impact other resources.
Right. You
available.
have to show, you know, donors and party people that, you know, you have a pathway to success. And so building the voter registration is very key then.
That's good. Well, good luck to you, Janet, and to all of the Democrats in Congressional District 1. We're counting on you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Thanks.